here, right now, right 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 here, right now, right
Ian, you are live. We are here in New York, engineering you proudly. iCureCancer, Ian, Jacklin, and the lovely Joni Abbot. What's going on, Joni? You guys hear us? Hello?
Hello.
We're going in. I was on Linsky's by accident, but now I've...
Joni looks nice and crisp and beautiful. Ian, you look a little bit like an oil painting right now.
Hey, he's a masterpiece.
Oh, 100%. Completely.
Okay.
All right, guys, enjoy yourself. We're going to be watching you closely over here. Everything sounds great so far.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome, folks. This is iCureCancer.com. I've got my normal co-host on the iCureCancer on Saturdays is Cynthia Brooks, and she's also the star of iCureCancer.com, my first film. So she was lucky enough to be in the vicinity where I was, and we hooked up. So we have two hosts today, myself, Ian Jacklin, and Cynthia Brooks from iCureCancer. And we are really lucky today because we've got from naturalnews.com. I was like, which name am I going to set myself up to forget? The name of her show or her? Because I self-sabotage sometimes. Sorry, Joni Abbot Cox, one of my best friends, Joni Abbot Cox, on Homegrown Radio, right?
Yeah, Homegrown Health on naturalnewsradio.com. Thanks, Ian.
Yay!
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, how are you? I'm so happy.
Good. I know. I'm happy to finally talk to you, too. I've heard so much, and your story is amazing. I love it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I think you're
welcome.
amazing.
Oh my gosh. Can you feel the love in the rooms tonight, people?
So much. Crazy.
Right. So, well, what was supposed to happen, folks, all you out there in internet land, was I was supposed to have my friend Eric on, but he's going through some tough times right now with his child. She has leukemia. And we can talk a bit about it because he's one of the only guys I've ever known that had child services side with him and let the chemo stop because it wasn't working, and that's the key. If they're going to try the chemo for the leukemia, they know right away if it's going to work or not, from what I understand. So to me, they should just let it go. But so yeah, we can't have Eric on tonight, but you are following the same stories I am with all these children. The baby killers are at work is what's happening. They're trying to give our children treatments that don't work. Chemo doesn't work for a lot of the cancers, and so many of the holistic ones do, and it's just heart-wrenching. So do you want to start us off with one of the many stories you and I have been following, and we'll just sort of go through them all?
Wow. Well, I cover parental rights all the time on my show. That's one of the platforms because without parental rights, I can't do what I do holistically, naturally, unless I have something in order or in place that allows me to do that. I personally believe that I have a God-given right to treat my children medically as I see fit, whether I want to choose allopathic or naturopathic medicine. So these parental rights are being infringed upon because at the very basic medical foundational level, we're not bridging the gap between natural medicine and allopathic medicine. So you have a bunch of oncologists when a child gets diagnosed with cancer, their only option that they've learned in their formal training as doctors is cut, poison, burn, chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. So that's the only way they know how to treat this. They've never been trained in the naturopathic medicines that have been used in these natural cures, food as medicine for thousands and thousands of years. So it's like we're speaking two different languages. So when they hear us speak a different language, they say, I can't understand, I'm going to come after you because that's medical neglect. So one of the stories that I covered this week, and it's actually gone really well, and you made a video for me, so thank you so much, Ian, for doing that, is the story of Sierra and Landon Riddle. Landon is 3 years old. He has T-cell ALL, which is a type of aggressive leukemia, and his doctors in Utah, they started them on chemo as is the standard protocol, and then she found out about cannabis oil because the chemo almost killed this little guy twice. He stopped eating. He didn't eat anything for 25 days. He was not thriving at all. He was very, very sick and near death. And so she said, I have to do something for my child. What mommy wouldn't, right? So she researched the cannabis oil. They moved to Colorado, transferred his case off the record. Her doctor, when she lived in Utah, the oncologist said to her, when she asked her about cannabis oil, she said, do what you need to do to keep him alive, because we don't think he's going to make it through this. So she kind of gave backdoor permission in a way for the cannabis oil, but it couldn't be on the record. So then Sierra moved Landon to Colorado thinking, hey, cannabis just got legalized here. All the doctors are going to be on board with it. Not the case. She actually took her son off of chemo because he was doing so much better on the cannabis oil versus the chemo. She just took him off it completely, and the doctor lost her mind in Colorado and threatened, and that's when it all started about three weeks ago.
Right. We have to fix this, because you're right. Those doctors don't know any better. They think they're doing the right thing. And you can tell, like Hirsch, or the one that is learning that, oh, no, they're probably thinking, oh, no, there's methods to their madness. I'm going to be out of a job. But what they should be thinking is, wow, I've been murdering people my whole career. I think I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to learn how to heal people with food and holistic medicine.
Well, when they don't believe in that, they're not trained in nutrition. One of my best friends is a doctor, and she's like, we had very minimal training in nutrition because they're taught to treat symptoms using pharmaceuticals as a reactionary process, whereas our mindset's very different. We're very preventative. We're thinking, let's prevent cancer in the first place. Let's not even get it. How about that? And if we do, let's treat it with the most natural means possible. And Cynthia, if you have anything to say, please feel free to chime in. I'm going to put my headphones back in.
Got anything to say, girl?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Checking.
Yeah.
I think this argument is not necessary.
Okay.
Even though I feel that I applaud everything you're doing.
Okay, thanks.
I think you're spectacular. I think you're a spectacular being. I'd like to jump way ahead to what the children know. And that's about connecting to source energy, connecting to who they are. I would love for us to give up the fight and just sort of project what has happened, like in my journey.
Yeah.
I know I'm talking very slow because I'm trying to take in the information, but the thing is that I don't know. I'm willing to be wrong here, but
you're speaking with intention, and I appreciate the pauses that you're taking. I do appreciate that.
I'm pausing because it's important. Perhaps take a lesson from the children. And maybe can we turn around and talk to the children and say, like, what do you know? Because they're fresh out of source. They know what they know. We have been so sort of programmed now in this, because I've been around a long time. We've all been programmed, and like kind of turn to the children and say, like, what's your point of view on this?
It is interesting.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm just saying, yeah, that's an interesting concept. I mean, it's an interesting to think about, checking in with them and see what they think. A lot of these doctors speak for the kids. They say, well, if Landon understood that he, had this horrible disease, if he really understood it, he would say that he wants chemo. I mean, this is the crazy thing that they start, going toward, and it just does not resonate with me at all.
Good. Yeah. Good. Very good. I just feel that perhaps we should check in with the children. They know a lot more than we do, only because we've been so programmed and so suppressed. And we've been here too long with the suppression and everything that's going on with the world, and perhaps check in with them and say, like, well, how do you want to heal yourself?
Right. So this is kind of, that throws me off just a little bit, and I'm glad that it does, because I don't know. It's good. It's good because it's a thought process that I haven't, I know that you come from a very spiritual aspect when it concerns healing cancer. And I love what you said on iCureCancer.com, that fear, we have to take a look at fear first before we can honestly take a look at the cure afterwards, right? I loved that quote that you gave in the movie. And I think that's just as much a part of it as everything else. What I learned from this interview with Sierra, though, is that these oncologists absolutely recognize the fact that some of these cancers, I would say all of them, but some of them are environmental. In particular, her son's cancer, they said it's either genetic or it's environmental. And I was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me they know that there are environmental factors at work here, and it's not just something that popped up? And she said, oh, they know all right. And I thought, that's creepy to me now. That's creepy that they know, and yet all this, race for the cure and all the hype of everything else, nothing else is being done. That's what, gives me the willies about it, I guess you could say.
I completely understand that. But actually, and again, willing to be wrong here,
sure,
really, you can be in any environment. I've studied this for 17 years. You can be in Texas with the new electronic blah, 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 and all the children get cancer, and you can be here and you can be there. And really, it's about responsibility. I hate the word responsibility. I like authority. Take authority. Okay. It's really hard when things aren't going well, and I've been there for big time, to take responsibility for I'm responsible for my own vibration. I attract. And based on what you're saying, kind of like, I think maybe these children are taking on a vibration from their parents about blame. Mm. And I got sick because, very, very, very sick, because I took on the vibration of my parents, and then I was blaming, and then I wasn't there. And I think that pushing against and blaming whatever disempowers you is all I'm saying. Because
sure.
I've been in the environment where I've seen someone, being in a very hostile environment, meaning like power cords all over the place, bullets flying all over the place, have you, and they still are fine. And I just would like to softly, gently kind of introduce this idea of self-empowerment and taking authority for what's happening to you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Now, as a parent, though, how do we do that? I mean, the question is, where is the, right, where, how do we do that for our kids?
So hard because you love your children so much.
And our friend that you're talking about, what was her name again?
Sierra and Landon, yeah.
She's taking authority. I don't know if she's listening, but I got mad respect for you, that you're standing up, you're getting in front of the press, you're not taking this lion down, and I wouldn't either. You're a lioness that has been backed into a corner, and you ain't letting them come after your kid. I'm with you 100%, and I think we can do that. We will, because it's wrong what they're doing. The kid was already getting better. Hello, folks, judges and police and whoever's listening, lawyers. The kid was getting better, just like Jay Matthews, our other friend. Child was in Arizona. pH went from 5 up to 7.5. Was doing well. As far as I'm concerned, if that kid would have been left alone for 3 months, she would have been cancer-free. But no, they caught up to him. Child Services pulled him back into the hospital, forced the chemo, radiation surgery. She just lost her arm, folks. I found out about that on Joni's show the other night, and it's just been devastating to me. And it was good. It put me on a path again. I'm on a new path, and I'm gonna really go to work and do my best to try and help these kids out. I think I'm gonna call my film baby killers. I've been wanting to say baby killers or baby saviors. Everybody says saviors because it's more positive. I'm like, no, they're killing our babies. How else do you want to say that?
You're right. Well, and I appreciate your heart in this, Ian. I just want to hug you. You're so passionate about it, and you have been for so long. And the work that you do to go out there and film these families, and that's not easy work. It doesn't pay well either. None of us are making huge amounts of money doing what we do because there's right. But it pays everything in what's right for humanity. It pays everything in what's right. When you know you're on the right path, you know you're doing the right thing, you got to let that light shine and be what it becomes, and just go on that flow. But as far as Jay goes, again, his daughter he took her to the emergency room because she was having pain at the port site. And she had also just had some high-tech radiation surgery. It was like a cyber knife. It was some kind of very specific, high-dose radiation, but in an isolated spot. It was the next step that he was willing to take. And so she was having some pain and screaming and crying, so he took her to the emergency room, and once they found out she had done alternative therapies, they put her in a room and put an armed guard right outside the door, and that was the end of the story at that point. You know, how do we prevent, because all the parents that I talk to who've gone through this now, several families over the years, they think they have to leave the country, and some don't have the money to do that. Some don't have the funds or the wherewithal, and so you succumb or you lose your child. I mean, you really don't, they don't leave you with a lot of options, and it's because these natural remedies aren't recognized. So, I mean, that's the opening of the conversation right there. And I have so many questions, Cynthia, too, about what you said, because I guess, you know, when you said the children are so close to coming from the source, so then do they get to choose? Do you feel like they get to choose what happens?
We are so free. It's not just the children, it's you and I. We are so free, we can choose bondage, and that's what's happening.
Okay. It's all new to me, so I have to let that process and chew on that for a little while. Because
you know what? It took me like 14 years to get through that. So.
Okay, good. So the fact that I'm not jumping on it real quick.
I know. So it'll take you 4 months. It took me 14. There it is.
It took me about 15. I'm only now starting to think maybe she's not crazy, you know?
I am.
Because she's right on everything. So is her teachers. I studied with her teacher, Reverend Lynn, as well. It's just an interesting way.
Abraham's my teacher.
Abraham's huge. Anybody hasn't heard of the Abraham tapes? Get into that. Esther Hicks Abraham. Google that. But I don't care if you believe in this stuff or not. Just listen to the information coming out of the lady's mouth. If it's not from the other side, if it's not being channeled, then she's the smartest lady in the world, and that's all I need to care about.
She is. Yeah. Who cares? I mean, really, kind of jump into the wisdom of don't judge the tree, judge the fruit it bears.
Okay, yeah.
Some people have a really hard time, excuse me. Some people have a hard time with where the information comes from. Thank you. Like Ian just gave me a ball of Perrier. Thank you. Or what is this? Oh, Pellegrino.
Yeah. Mineral water.
We just plugged a company that's multi-billion that does not be plugged. Okay, so
it doesn't care about us, yeah.
Yeah, cute little bit. They owe us like $1 billion right now. You know that. So again, just same thing. Don't judge the tree, judge the fruit it bears. So I've been studying these philosophies for a long time, and I think you will really like this.
Okay.
I think it will touch a knowing to the core of your being.
I'm cool with that.
All of us humans, if you're a human, if you have a body, we're in this together.
Right, I
We're
do.
we're the buddy system. We help one another. Either we choose to kill each other or help each other, doesn't matter. We're all in this together. And on top of that, there's sort of like we all live on these kind of tough concept, try it, vibrational islands. Like you live in Kauai, I live in Maui, Ian lives in the Big Island, of course, man, whatever. What are you going to do?
Must conquer.
Because we love him.
I know.
And then, so we live on these vibrational islands, and whatever is going on with us, we attract that back. So you're on Kauai, I'm on Maui, and then we look at like something little more war vibrational Sri Lanka. You know, and so there's a lot of war, there's a lot of killing, there's a lot of things going on. It doesn't have to affect us. Do you understand?
Yeah, like it's almost like that concept of being content, being the most you that you can be no matter what's going on around you. You know, the bloom where you're planted kind of concept, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I'm not missing it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. You're totally on it. Like just connect to who you truly are, and all that other stuff falls by the wayside, and let them have their journey. Like I've been having kind of a problem with my teachers, who I love them, and they raised me to who I am now. But then they're like, let's do world peace. Well, what about those other people who don't want world peace? What about them who are on a different level and they need to fight and work through what they work through and experience the contrast and experience the experience? And like, what kind of a spiritual being, higher level am I if I don't let them have that? And they don't let me have me where I'm going. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's
absolutely.
Really, everything's okay. It's really okay, and just love it. Let them have what they have. Let them do what they're doing, and let them like go through what they need to go through. I think that's okay.
Well, I think that nobody's going to escape the human experience, right? And ever. We're all in this together. There is an end to it at some point. So it's like we're all on these different roads and these different paths. And I think that like spiritually, people make choices, and they can choose what they end up choosing what they want to do, and they do it. And there's very little control we can have. So there was a quote that I once heard. It said, "It's not what happens to me, it's what happens in me." That I heard one time that I really liked. Yeah.
Love that.
Because we can choose then what happens to us. We can choose how how we're going to react or not react to any given situation. And I am learning that I'm in the middle of that life altering change right now, in that, awakening as we learn what happens to us. Everything happens for a reason, action, reaction, all of those things. So I'm just, I'm in the middle of a life metamorphosis myself. And I just think it's great that, you can share your thoughts and your feelings on things. And then, we have this conversation and start to open up the spiritual aspect of physical body illness. And I do cover that on my show as well. I don't think that, I guess I come from it where I look at it like, however, whatever's going on spiritually, we are stuck in this human body, and our human body reacts to things. You may not think that, and that's okay, because we're at two different places, right? But so like vitamin K vaccines given at birth, not every child has a reaction to certain vaccines. Not every child dies from vaccines, but there are enough of them out there now who, like for instance, the vitamin K, it increases a child's risk for leukemia, sometimes up to 80%. So if we're constantly hammering a human body that has a predetermined system in itself, so like our body and our computer, I liken our bodies into computer programs. Like it was designed and predetermined to receive nutrients from the plants and the things that we have here. So when you start giving synthetics, it's like it does not compute. Like your body is like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm not programmed to receive it. I can use a little bit of it here, but then it stores up as, toxins in the rest of your body, or it can't excrete it. Yeah, go ahead.
This is what I have to say to you.
Okay.
I think you're amazing.
Thanks.
I adore you. And
there's
I know something you don't know yet, but you're about to know it.
Okay.
You are a blessed, blessed, blessed being. And the reason that you're worried about vitamin K and vaccinations and all of this stuff is because you're a blessed being. And
I don't like injustice.
You are a creator, and because you are source energy, and because you love and you want to help.
Yeah.
I think maybe for a while you could spend some time in that self-love.
Okay.
And then go back to the other things.
Sure.
Like, give yourself some love, because you and I probably have the same issues, and I know she has like those.
We self-sacrifice.
Shoemaker wears no shoes, I mean, I should be doing yoga for my back. I'm too busy helping people cure cancer.
You're amazing. You're an amazing woman.
You're
an amazing woman.
Oh, can I dive through here and give you a little hug? Okay. I'll be right over. Come
on over. We're in Hollywood. You'll have a great time.
I know.
We're having a great time. Yeah, come on.
So, hey, sponsors, you want to fly me? Somebody sponsor me and fly me out to Hollywood.
I wanted to kind of stop you so you didn't go downstream and go back. I want to turn you back upstream.
Sure.
That the attempt, like all these things that are going wrong, and they are, and you know what I mean. I would never want to like invalidate you on that, because you're right. Sure. But maybe for a week, turn your attention to what like a magnificent being you are and how spectacular you are and all the amazing things you're doing and how much we love you and all the love that's coming through and all the people who watch you, because I guess you're very popular, they love you, and go to that and bask in that.
Bask in that. I could do that.
For like 5 days, a week, and then come back and visit the subject, is all I'm saying.
Wow. Well, that's sweet of you. Thank you. I don't know that I've ever done that. I don't know that I ever tend to think about, I'm just too busy doing everything else, aren't I?
Your parents didn't do that. You know, your parents didn't train that way. And like screw the training. Let's be rebellious. And what about self-love? What about being self-loving? And, you know, like this to the parents who gave us the programming. And let's just love ourselves. What about that?
We can try that. I'm willing to do all of that. I'm willing to try all of it, right? So, like, I'll love myself in the morning and then fight the bad guys in the afternoon. Ian, are you with me on that?
Yeah. I mean,
it's hard. We're both kind of fighters. We've both been fighting our whole life. For me, I was born premature, so I've had to fight for my life my whole life. And,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it is, and I embraced that for a season. I did, and I talk to Ian all the time about my kickboxing that I did. It was like cardio kickboxing. Yes, look at his face.
I don't know what it is.
Cardio like kickboxing.
Dancing.
Oh, no, it's for you, Mr. TKO, right? But for girls like me, I felt like G.I. Joni. I was tough. I was cool. I was like sparring and kickboxing. Roundhouse kick. That was my favorite. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. And then after a while, I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to fight anymore like that. I don't want to physically fight. I'm ready to take the fight to a different level on a whole different plane. And then all of this landed in my lap. And I think, you know, it happened for a reason. And I know I'm a voice for something, for some families trying to help. So
absolutely.
It's very hard for me to sit back. And so it's hard when you're in the middle of everything to sit back and go, I think I'm going to self-love. But it's great advice because I'm waking up now at 35 years old going, I didn't do that hardly at all, ever. Even when I had kids, you know, like in the throes of having children, didn't take time out for me. And I've realized the hard way through getting sick and having adrenal fatigue and that I had to stop and start trying to take care of me at some point because nobody else was going to, you know. So there's that self-responsibility or accountability.
Especially with these topics that we're covering. Somebody wrote that on my Facebook. I put something up and they said something like...
you didn't shave today. That's what they said.
Yeah. Hey, I like stubble. You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
I only said that because he said that to me because he didn't shave today, so I had to...
I thought he was going to tell you you didn't shave, and I'd be like, hey, Buster, watch out. Those fighting words right there, Ian.
Oh yeah.
I've had people write in when I have a shadow, so I was like, oh no, I forgot the shit. It was a crazy day.
It was a very crazy day, and so he's at my apartment. He was freaking out. He was like, oh my god, I didn't shave today, so I had to say it because I'm a mean person.
That's fine. How's your vibration now?
My vibration's great. That's why I don't even look in the mirror anymore. I'm like, I'm sure I look good.
You do. Always.
So anyway, I put this post up on Facebook, and I said, because one lady put something up too, and I totally felt her, and that's kind of what we're talking about, resonating with that. Us few that know, that are awake and know about the baby killer situation, we're losing children to Western medicine and chemo. You know, shoot, what was my point going to be on that? Basically, that you... I'm sorry.
What's the point?
It was...
we need a point.
Oh, no, I'm almost there.
He's almost there.
I'm double nervous. I got two pretty girls to deal with this time.
Gosh. You're surrounded. You're surrounded. You aren't getting out of here without getting any kind of injury.
Sorry. It's back. The point is, we can't burden this on we can't carry this burden of our shoulders. We've got a friend waking up.
Oh, he's like waking up, or he's just physically like getting up from sleep.
He woke up and now he's asleep again.
Oh, okay.
We had a cancer patient here and trying to help him, and He woke up, but he's back to sleep now, so that's good.
Sleeping.
This is the craziest show ever.
Yeah, sleeping is the best thing when you have cancer.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, your body knows what it needs, and sleep is your body heals the most when it's sleeping.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I was just trying to make my point that even my shoulders aren't strong enough to bear this burden, this weight of knowing what's happening to these children. You know, they're not mine. They feel like mine. So that girl that we were talking about earlier, the one that lost her arm, she is mine. So I'm going after the people that did that to her because she's mine. I've met her. We've hung out. I've looked into her eyes. I know her soul. And I could have stole her right then and there. I could have took her.
I know. I remember.
I'm sure with Jay's permission, took her to Tijuana, and she would have her arm right now. She'd probably be cancer-free. There's no 100%. But if she was doing so well on that alternative program, I can't see her not making it. But I didn't do it because I knew I would go to prison and not be able to help anybody else. So, and I'm glad I brought this up because I forgot. I got a new website, Archangel Art, or Archangel Art.
Yes.
Long story short, somebody said I'm kind of like the Archangel Raphael.
You were telling me that.
And I looked up a picture of the guy, and one of them is just like me. So I put it on the website. It's called archangelart.com, and it's going to be a portal for warriors who can't pick up guns, because we don't do that anymore, pick up cameras and go and start shooting things. If you know of a wrong and you want to right it, go to archangelart.com. Write to us, tell us your ideas. We're going to try and find a spot in downtown LA that we can have like some mini studio. And we just want to start pumping these videos out to people because I don't know what else to do. I can't go punch anybody out, unfortunately. So I have to shoot them out with a camera and let the people decide.
Right. Well, and knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And when you do something, when you take action, it puts that power into place. It puts that power into motion. And so I love that. I love that concept. I often thought that, what if every citizen, what if we turned the tables? What if we had cameras on them? I often have said that I would not feel comfortable walking into a office, like a doctor's office, without a lawyer and a security guard. You know, you almost feel like you have to have legal protection and physical protection in order to even consult a doctor on something as simple as a second opinion. Something that's available to everybody that we should be able to have rights to, we don't. And I just don't know that with Obamacare it's going to get any better. So I see what Cynthia's saying with all this worry. It's like it's going to be a constant stream of the rules and the laws that are being put into place. At what point does it end for us?
I think actually, I really hate Obamacare. But I think in the end, it's a good thing because it's going to show how ridiculous it is. And I have a great healthcare system for everybody. Get well.
Right.
Tune in,
preventative.
Own inner being. Get the wellness. You don't need all those people. And, I've been through it for so long. And the thing is that there's always these outside forces like, you need us to be well. You need this, you need that. No, you don't. Talk to your inner being. Talk to your own, whatever you want to call it, spirit, inner being, source, have you. Just talk to it. Ask the cell intelligence to heal your body. You're done the next day. You don't need any of this. It's all control. It's all ridiculous. It's boring. It's over. And just do that and you'll be fine and you'll live to be like 350 years old or more. That's all.
Even if the body doesn't last, right?
Well, there's other cultures that, they keep, the spirit keeps the body for 5,000 years and that's documented. So we're kind of... Oh yeah, we're kind of and others. And so we keep our bodies for 75 years. Are you kidding me? We have the intelligence to do that, to keep the body for 5,000 years, unless you don't want to and you want to move on. It's all okay. But I'm just saying, let all that stuff go and get into your own intelligence, the cell intelligence, your higher intelligence, tap into that. And none of this matters really.
So ultimately, so what would your advice be to new parents with a new diagnosed child? Let's say they find out their child has gotten sick and they have cancer. What would your advice to parents be?
Call me.
Okay, 867-530. No, sorry. What's your number? How do we get a hold of you? Like seriously, how would a parent
You
want
go to
to
iCureCancer.com.
Okay.
Ian runs it. He always is like filtrating. Calls to me, and that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you just get a hold of me or I
It's very simple. It's very simple.
Awesome.
But
Good.
again, let me add in, because she did her spiritual stuff, which is awesome, and I'm learning. But let me throw in, I'm a hardcore, black and white. Let's get all ducks in a row, and make sure you're blending, juicing, eating all organic. Get rid of all the dairy and all the other crap. A lot of people use that cannabis. A lot of people use that cannabis hemp oil because it works. It's got an 85% success rate.
Unless you're on my couch.
So basically, where was I going?
85% success rate, cannabis oil, because I'm hearing more and more and more about this.
Yeah, so it's working, but unfortunately, unless they've heard any of my stuff or your stuff, they don't know about alkaline diet. They don't know about detox. You should be doing coffee enemas. I mean, there's a lot of things you should do, but I don't know if it's good or bad. The fact is, the cannabis hemp oil is working anyway. So, but it's bad when people think it's gone, and then it comes back if they stop taking it. So you got to do more than just that. That's a nice little silver bullet kind of thing to add in, but your key is going to be getting alkaline. Just eat what God gave you from the earth.
Well, that's great. That's for the body outline, because it's body,
sure.
mind, and spirit, as we know.
Right.
But the silver bullet is just like getting back in touch with who you truly are.
Getting in alignment. Yeah.
Alignment.
And Ian, so I have a question for you about THC, because this has come down the pike now since I've aired Sierra's interview and you made the video for me. Now, some of the cannabis oil is made like everything's high quality. Some has low or no THC in it, and others have said, oh, the more THC, the better to heal cancer. Which one, or do you know?
Yeah, okay, well, again, word on the street, and I talked to the best of the best, Rick Simpson, who made Run from the Cure. Everybody should see it if you haven't seen it. Ronnie Smith's, he's one of the old school guys. There's a number of them I could mention. So I go to the old school guys, been doing it for since it first really came out. Rick Simpson was one of the first guys. And I asked them, what's the word on the street? What do you know? And Rick's cured, 5,000 people. I think Ronnie cured 350, 550, something like that. And again, it's the THC for the cancer. That's your answer. And the CBDs for the seizures and pain. And I just found out about this because I knew the THC was working for cancer. But I had a friend actually try that for her child, and because of the THC, it made the kid high, and it just wasn't good, and it wasn't working for the seizures. So I got him CBD oil because that's legal. Anybody can get CBD oil. It's sold as a food. You have to buy it from Europe because
isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It's illegal to grow the hemp plant in America still.
But it's Colorado. Colorado just had their first harvest in 56 years.
What?
Yeah, because they legalized cannabis, and California just planted hemp. And I think that's going to help with the whole Fukushima thing with radiation, because hemp absorbs the radiation, the incoming plumes that are coming over from the whole Fukushima thing in Japan. So,
that can't hurt. That can't hurt. Well, that's good news. I didn't know about that. But good.
I just read that today.
Yeah, for some reason, if anybody didn't know, DuPont and Hearst own the paper factories or whatever, and the hemp grows every 13 weeks, whereas a tree takes 100 years. So they knew they were going to lose business to the hemp industry, so they came out with all that false propaganda, demonizing the drug, calling it the horrible marijuana drug. And it's a joke. It turned out it was God's gift. It was in the Bible. It was the anointing oil was, I think, 80% cannabis hemp oil. It gets your cannabinoids at birth working supercharged for the rest of your life. I mean, it's amazing stuff. And once again, the powers that be kind of want to hide that from us. They don't want us to know how well we can be. So, but that's what this show is for.
That's right. That's the realm we run in. Well, I just think that with the CBD oil, and if that's so easily accessible, then we could start seeing, a lot of degenerative diseases healed and cured, and people really opening their eyes to more of a plant-based diet, or understanding that plants are not evil and wicked. It's these synthetic chemical lab-made drugs that we don't know really. We are the experiment with those. There's no long-term side effect understanding. If a population's not been on a drug for so long, you can't possibly do a 30-year study when you're the experiment. You know, you can't come out with false numbers, even though it's all checkbook science. Ah, phooey. I get so sick of the same story.
I know. I want to really put a shout out about this CBD oil, because I just heard about it and got some for a friend whose child was having like seizures all day long. All day. Can't even be left alone at school. Always have. And it stopped. It's working, folks. CBD, high CBD, no THC oil is working for seizures and pain. And it's amazing. I tried it myself. You don't get high or anything, and all of a sudden you're not in pain. And it's, I don't know, it's just amazing stuff. So anybody has kids that are in, or older people in pain, or kids that have the seizures, it's working, folks. High CBD, no THC oil. If you have cancer, you can do both. I would do both if you can afford them. Get the high THC because that's killing the cancer. But the CBDs, there's so many. You take a hemp plant and juice it, and you'll get the same thing.
Well, this is a recent conversation that just came up on Facebook with autism families. One of the autism moms that I know, she's an author of a great book for kids and parents, and opening the conversation about vaccine and vaccine injury and the toxic ingredients that are in vaccines. She started saying, hey, why aren't more people jumping on this bandwagon, especially the autism families who have children who are having repeated seizures? And then some of the THC versus non-THC conversation started, and then she started talking about the CBD oil for seizures. And these kids, a lot of them are having a lot of seizures. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
There's an amazing documentary. Go to YouTube and search CNN. What was the doctor's name that came up?
Dr. Sanjay Gupta, the story on weed. Actually, okay, so now I'm going to tie this all back in. Sierra Riddle and Landon were filmed for that very documentary in the middle of the worst intense chemo that he was a part of. CNN's been following this family around since June, and they are going to be coming out, I believe, in January with the rest of Sierra's story. They've continued to follow her around, even recently through the CPS being called and the oncologist losing her mind and everything else. So I believe that they are going to be coming out with a special just on her and her son. She's been approached by Dr. Phil. She's been approached by Good Morning America. I mean, she is in high demand right now because her story is just really hot because of this, what she brings to the table and in the conversation for cannabis. With it's right now, it's a hot topic because it's on the verge of being legalized in other states now, and I think we have to plant hemp. It could help heal our economy. Hemp is just a cash crop. It grows, like you said, 13 weeks from the beginning to the end. It can be used for so many different things, and it's great for the environment, helps to reestablish nutrients in the soil where we're getting our food. I mean, it's a never-ending helpful plant. It's just one of the cure-alls for our economy and world. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a great thing to say there, but by the time it was my turn, I forgot.
I'm sorry. And then don't give me any space. I will take it, run with it, and I'll take both of your spaces, both of your conversations. I love that about you. Oh man, I'm a fast talking dame. That's what this is.
That's awesome.
I should have been born in the 30s. I should one of those newspaper reporters from the old school times.
You're fine where you are. You're fine. Right?
Thanks. So okay, so what's
you know what? I just wanted to say thank God for CNN, whoever had something to do with them actually putting real news on for a change. Did you hire somebody new? Did the Illuminati get kicked out when I wasn't checking? I mean, I can't believe you put that on, but thank you, and we need more of that, because once, again, if we can get all the burden off just your shoulder, my shoulder, and hers, and the few that are in it, and spread it out, it's sort of like if three of us tried to pick up a car, there's no way we could, but you get everybody there, all of a sudden you don't even know there was a car there because it's gone. I mean, and that's what's going to happen to the people running the world now, I think. Because remember I told you when I was in Mexico, I figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, how did the Mexican people deal with, because it seems more corrupt there than here, but it's not, because it's high tech. Here it's all hidden. You just disappear one day and nobody ever hears from you again. Down there, I mean, the people band together. I mean, they're afraid of the cults, the drug runners, or whatever, but at the same time, they're a community, and if somebody does somebody really wrong, they get together, and we need to do that here, I think, in America. We need to become more neighborhoody, more grassroots, which is what Gary Knoll's telling everybody, most of the gurus out there. I mean, if you want to change the GMO thing, go to these grassroots things that I go to, and sign petitions. Get on the computer every day like I do. Find something to sign, find something to do.
The March Against Monsanto, I did that as well. And what is interesting is I just read something today that said, you know what? Before Monsanto, before this whole GMO thing, we did this. We allowed Monsanto to happen. They might have been trying to infiltrate, but it's when we chose to become disconnected from the earth, from our food, from ourselves, from our communities, when we stopped caring at some point as a collective whole. And so the fluoride could be working, obviously, in our brain cells, and the vaccines working to dumb us down and separate us from and disconnect us from everything that's important, or at least give us a more lackadaisical feeling. I just thought that was really interesting that this guy from, I think it was one of the Eat Local Foods Facebook pages, he was talking about, we allowed Monsanto to happen, so why not rise up and take it back down? And we do that by voting with our dollars. We do that by going to our farmers markets, supporting local farmers, saying no to GMOs, only buying things with the GMO free label, whatever label that might be, because there's several now coming out. So I think that's very important. And into research, get connected with your food, get connected with the earth, grow things, go somewhere in that way. I think about parents just coming on board with natural cures for cancer, and I think, I can't dispense medical advice. Like I say on my show, everything is for educational and informational purposes only. So, but, to learn about diet and how it affects the body and really help their child, and like you said, Cynthia, those three, the mind, body, and soul. How do we help kids? What do you think, like spiritually, from a spiritual aspect? What would be your suggestions for how we should approach our children, besides asking them to express their inner wisdom?
Right. You might not like this.
Okay. Just hit me with it tonight. I'll catch it all.
Okay. You can't really live until you get over this death fear thing.
Okay.
My journey through cancer was not about cancer. My journey was what happens to me when I die. And It's been said by the great ones, you can't really live life until you understand death and get over that fear death thing.
I agree.
I feel like the young ones, like your children, they're fresh out of whatever you want to call it, spirit, ultimate intelligence, source, whatever they all call it. They got that. So all of this business, and it's been thrown at me for 17 years about juicing, GMOs, cannabis vaccine. It's all about the fear of dying. So I've always been like a very lazy person. Like, I want to get to point A to point B as quickly as possible. Sit to the real question, which was my cancer. Like, what happens to me when I die?
So were you convinced that you were going to die from your cancer?
Well, all the, Rhodes Scholars and the Nobel Prize winners said I was. Yeah.
Sure. It's a scary time. It's a scary time for so many people. And that's, I think, I try to put myself in their shoes and go, what would I do? How would I feel? I'm thankful that I don't. But
the thing is that when you're running, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Go.
We love Ian. When you're running, and when you're stuck in that hamster wheel, because this whole discussion is like, how do I stay alive? How do I stay alive? This. That's why I was kind of quiet about it. Really, you can stay alive forever. Just figure out what happens to you when you die. If that makes any sense. Because really, this whole discussion is like, how do I keep my body? How do I stay alive? And chemtrails, which I've been hit by, and this and that and this and that. And so it's really like, let's jump to the wisdom of, let's get over this fear of death thing and start living. Does that make any sense to you?
Absolutely, because you can't live you can't feel like you're making positive grounds when that thing is weighing you down all the time. You can't, it eventually, growing up with a fear of death myself, it wasn't until I experienced death with a woman that I was, it was a gift to me. It was a true gift. I was with a woman when she died. I was allowed to help take care of an elderly woman. She was 96 years old, and she was a nurse, and she was always teaching, but Alzheimer's took over, and I got to sit with her and help her and learn how to help care for her. And that gift was that she waited till I came to see her. She kept holding on, and they called me and said, we don't know what she's holding on for. I mean, you know, only half of her brain is working, and Joni, just come on up here and let's just, you know, let her know that you and the girls are okay, and let her know your family's okay, and just, you know, please say goodbye to her. So I went up there to do that, and in that moment, I learned more in that moment of her death about death and about not fearing death than I had thought about, learned, or have ever been consoled my entire life. So that was a parting gift that she left me that I still to this day am just so thankful for. So I totally get it. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, all of this dialogue is really about how do I stay alive?
Right.
Just everything that's been said tonight, how do I stay alive? You stay alive by not fearing death, and let the cell intelligence do what it knows how to do, and relax and release and go to that place. Quit fighting against each other, quit making each other wrong, quit pushing against the other, stay in your own power, and you can live as long as you want. You can live forever.
That's a great thought. It's more comforting to think that way, isn't it? It is to stay in that place.
Palladians are very real. The Palladians keep their bodies for 5,000 years. But it's not really a comforting thought. If, like, I can keep my body for 5,000 years is a comforting thought, then you're still afraid of death. And so that's where you need to go now. That's what I did. I went to the mediums and, like, all this crazy, ridiculous stuff that's in my book, and you know what I mean? But I was always like, you know, because I had a noose around my head from the people, the most supposedly intelligent men in the world. And so I had to find out what happens to me when I die. A journey. My journey was what happens to me when I die, because according to the Catholics, I sinned a lot. Like, I had some fornication.
Sure. Look at you. You're beautiful, right? Right?
According to the Catholics, straight to hell. I lied. Another mortal sin. I stole a piece of candy. That's a mortal sin.
Right. We all have.
I'm a horrible person. So, like, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to hell. I wanted to make sure that hell didn't exist. So I went into all these weird places and whatnot. And not everyone's going to have my journey, but that was my journey. And if it helps anybody, like the whole heaven and earth thing, not so much. You can have heaven right here on this planet. But really, the truth is, again, what really, like, went through my mind is the philosophy is you can't really live until you are no longer afraid of death, and you understand what death is.
Right.
Or
I
you
like
no longer want to die, because I went through 15 years of not wanting to be on this disgusting planet anymore at all. I was just done with it.
But let me chime in there. That's a great thing. He wanted to. Ian has told me we're great to die. He told me he wanted to kill himself. That's a very good thing. Because what he's saying, if anybody says, I'm going to kill myself, that's a very good thing. Because what they're actually saying is, I want to return to the pure source energy that I am. Because that's what we're all made of. And as humans, it's hard because we only have labels. And so we kind of like try to put the label pure source energy. And there might be better words for it, but we don't have them. But let's like play within that guideline. Ian, me, we wanted to kill ourselves, wanted to go back to the pure source energy of who we truly are. And that's all my message is like, let's get back to who you truly are, the energy that you are, the lifetimes after lifetimes, billions of lifetimes that have gone on forever. And it's always this pure source energy. That's why you feel so good when something makes you feel happy, when you get exhilarated, when you look at a puppy dog, when you look at a piece of art, when you recognize who you truly are, when you look at a freckle on your hand, you're like, that reminds me of my grandmother who I love so much. Any of that is all about pure source energy. And do is get back to that with this entire conversation.
Nope, totally understand. I'm with you on that one. That's good. I'm glad how you brought. I like how you brought that full circle. Right?
Do you like that? How I made that?
I like it.
The whole
I
circle.
it just came back around.
Well, you know what? Before we run out of time, it's got about 5 minutes. I wanted to say, here's what you do, folks, as far as the here and now, non-spiritual, physical, 3D. Somebody comes and tries to take my kid away for chemo. I say, okay, we'll be there Thursday. And I've had people do this where they keep missing the appointments until they get ready, and then they book. The only thing you can do in America right now is leave the country. Now you're going to be wanted fugitive for kidnapping. This happened to my friend. They went to, I think it was Switzerland, but you have to heal. This is the only thing. You can never come back to America if you don't cure the kids. You got to go somewhere good that knows how to do holistic medicine, like Mexico, and then you can come back and they'll just say, "Oh, it was misdiagnosed. You're off the hook." But if they die, then you're going to be running for the rest of your life. So that's why most people can't do that. So they have to say, okay, I'll take my kid. I know you're going to probably kill him, but take him because, I don't want to be running from the law for the rest of my life. And that's just horrible.
It's a horrible place to be put in. I mean, we've got all the politics of medical liability, the hospital policies. Nobody wants, and I think back to Sierra's case, one of the things that this came down to was that nobody wanted to accept responsibility if he stayed on cannabis oil and died.
Right.
So the parents,
chemo.
Right, exactly. It doesn't make sense. But what if the parents just say, okay, I'll accept responsibility. I have to live with that for the rest of my life. And you don't need to put me in jail because jail is going to be a lesser sentence.
Right.
If you lose a child and you have to live this life without them physically present, they'll always be with you. I mean, that's a consolation of its own. But no parent that I've ever known that's lost a child has ever gotten over it in a way. So that you're going to live with that for the rest of your life, that's pain enough. Why can't they leave well enough alone? And I think that's just something that, where my mind goes when I start thinking about all of this liability issue stuff. So,
and like I said earlier, I know one guy now that did have child services side with him, and it worked. I mean, and he's still battling. It's not going to be easy because chemo and the cancer. So it's not going to be easy, but just so you know, there's hope out there, folks. So, and the way he did it, he's a good chess player. You got to understand, they're human beings. So you just go to them and say, okay, what's the percentage? What are you saying? It's not even 50-50. I'm going to get hit with, my daughter's going to get hit with 60 out of 100 bullets. No, that's not good enough. 50-50 is not good enough. That's what he said. And somehow he's got it rolling. And so where there's a will, there's a way. That's all I can say. And then if you have to book, leave the country.
Well, even with Sierra's case, she said CPS isn't the problem. They got called in here by the oncologist. They don't want to be here. They come in and they saw that my son's not medically neglected. And my point to her was, you are doing something. These oncologists can say, oh, well, you're not doing anything. But spending, I've known families like the Navarros in Cut, Poison, Burn, the family that was featured in that film. Jim Navarro told me himself, the dad, that he spent $12,000 to $15,000 per month for Thomas's treatments in that film. And that's a large amount of money. So that's not doing nothing. Jay Matthews, I think he was cashing in his 401k to try to take her places to heal his daughter. That's not doing nothing. And that was, the whole point. So, Sierra giving her son cannabis after much research and making sure that she had the purest, the best, moved to the state where it was legal. That's not doing nothing. And so, the CPS people were very open to that. And I think at the end of the day, they're human too. And they have to look and see that these kids are not being medically neglected, that the parents are doing something for them. And they're trying to make the best possible, humane, effective treatments, compassionate treatments that they could possibly give their kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we run out, give us your information. Your goes on, because we got about a minute.
Not all about that. Well, you can catch me on naturalnewsradio.com on Mondays and Wednesdays. I have new shows. Also, don't forget, before my show from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern is Robert Scott Bell's show. I do some voiceover work for him, and he's going to be bringing me on more regularly. And in fact, tomorrow I get to be on to talk about RFID chips in vaccines and kids being injected with those without parental consent. And then I'll be doing that right before Jesse Ventura is on his show. So I get to be in that lineup, and I'm super privileged to be there.
Right on.
A part of that. So
I think we're going to get cut off. So I just want to say thank you. You saved the day today. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. It's good to see you, Cynthia. We'll be talking soon.
You. Wonderful.
Okay, thank you. You are too. Thank you so much.
And
Thanks,
thank you,
Ian.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Watch every Wednesday night, 7:15, ZenLive TV.
Thanks to Frank and Gypsy at ZenLive. Thanks.
Where's ZenLive? ZenLive.
Right here, right here.